DK Metcalf, Packers. Is there any truth to this rumor? Probably not. But it's out there. And now, of course, this is CTESPN, our boy AB, who blocked me on social media. I don't know why. We were good friends. He would DM me all the time. And then one time I asked him to come on the show, and he said, "You got budget?" I said, I don't want to pay you. Aren't we friends? And he blocked me. The true story. Exactly how it went down. But it doesn't matter. We still talk about what this man talks about, because a lot of the time, no offense to AB if he's watching, he probably is, because he used to watch the show. This report is stemming from some other reports. Usually on CTESPN, whenever there's something post somewhere, he'll throw, his image up or whatever. But there's a lot of people speculating about DK, Green Bay, DK. Will he be traded? Deebo Samuel, most closely, there's some Green Bay buzz on that one too, but most closely tied to rumors about the Commanders and the Houston Texans. We're going to break it all down. What do we think of the rumors? I'll tell you right now, kind of spoiling it for the rest of the show, but this isn't the important part. It's all smoke. Like, could it end up being true? Yeah, but it would be almost a coincidence. There's some generated, especially in the DK or the Deebo Samuel front, because he's been given permission to work on, potentially a move. So these have more. This has more legs right here. But the DK Metcalf, this is all speculation. Who's reaching out to the Seattle Seahawks? Have anybody reached out to the Seattle Seahawks? Maybe, but there's a lot of smoke involved. This is a little bit more his agents trying to work on something. Steelers have been talked about. The Steelers for DK, the Steelers for Deebo Samuel. We'll break it all down, but more importantly, we'll try and cover all the angles to suggest that if this happens, this is how we feel. If this happens, this is how we feel. This is the Graveyard Show. This is the draft after we break down this topic, and then where do we take these players with the pending news show. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now. File on in.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios.
It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live!
Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
So, who knows about this DK stuff? This DK stuff's far more unreliable than the Deebo Samuel information. Just because, like I said, the Deebo Samuel people are allowed to talk to, the Steelers people. And so there's permission granted in this department here. This is more of a, is DK going to get traded? Do the Seahawks want to keep him? They've made it pretty clear that they want to keep him. That is part of posturing, though. So we have to consider that no team's going to sit there and go, oh, yeah, we want to get rid of him. Because then it looks like they're going to be had cheaply. Or are you going to cut the guy? Like, no one's going to cut DK. But I'm just saying that's the type of, the way it goes with negotiations, posturing. How many times have you heard Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, even at the very beginning of this offseason, like in the Super Bowl still kind of, approaching, and we're talking about 2025, and you hear John say, we're not in the business of getting rid of good players, right? Speaking to Deebo Samuel. Now Deebo's on the move. Well, we're trying to abide by Deebo's request. We're trying to honor his request for a trade. Yeah, sure, John Lynch. Sure, Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan telegraphed that he wanted to trade Deebo Samuel when he was utilizing him all over the field at the end of the year when there was nothing to fight for, because he wanted to showcase he was healthy, because we all would have expected that he dropped off and fell off the face of the earth. Daniel, with a 12-month membership question as a Packer fan, do the trade now. We need him. Yeah, I mean, bro, DK, Deebo, either one. DK specifically. DK is way more attractive than Deebo from an NFL perspective, from a fantasy perspective, from a GM trying to build something up, from a GM trying to win now. If I'm Adam Peters, and I think like this, I would do whatever it takes to get DK Metcalf. This is a potential solid move. Think of Deebo as kind of like, what's the best way to describe Deebo moving teams? Amari Cooper. We all, raise your hand. thought we would see something. When he got traded to the Bills, we thought, wow, this could be kind of good for a little while, right? He's got at least the rest of the season left in the tank, right? Gets traded, does nothing. This could be a situation where Deebo goes over and he really contributes about as much as Austin Eckler contributed on the ground in Washington. It's not necessarily a lock of any kind. This right here is longer term. This right here is championship game winning. This right here is you show up in the Super Bowl and at least have a chance to fight in a Super Bowl showdown type of move right here. DK Metcalf catching passes from an already accurate JD5 that could throw this ball up in crazy places, pinpoint accuracy, raindrops, some moon balls, some direct laser darts, some scrambling, backs off, throws the ball up in the air. DK Metcalf jumps up straight into the air in the end zone in the back corner and pulls in 10 touchdowns minimum in 2025. If I am Adam Peters, and Adam Peters and I, like I said, think like this. Okay, he goes left, I go left, I go right, he goes right. This is a man that I feel knows what I'm thinking, and when I say something and he says something and they align, that shit's gonna happen. And I'm telling you that this is where my mind's going. If he's even available, I'm telling you this is better than drafting one of the rookie wide receivers, because he's already seasoned. And quite frankly, anybody that thinks that DK Metcalf is not a number one wide receiver capable of being that in a new situation, plug him into Washington, maybe him and McLaurin tug and pull for the number one targets, allotted in year one of DK's reign in Washington. But right after that, this guy's still young. This is a number one wide receiver in the National Football League. Maybe he's not top five. I get that. There's not as much dynamic ability and diverse capability in his play to say, he can compete with Jamar Chase and JJ. No way. Neighbors, CeeDee Lamb. This is not that guy, pal. But what he is right below that. He's in the 6 to 12 capable category and bucket of player that can drop you wide receiver 6 numbers 1 year, 12 the next year, 8 the next year, maybe a tad inconsistent, but that's DK Metcalf. But this guy in JD5's system, catching footballs from JD5, would go to the mother freaking moon. No, he wouldn't go to the moon. No, he wouldn't go to Mars. No, he wouldn't go to Saturn. He would go to Jupiter. And his stock would be massively on the rise in fantasy football. We'd all have to overpay a little bit, but man, DK Metcalf is one of the biggest steals in Underdog fantasy football right now. Why? Because he's going in round 6, sometimes later than that. But round 6, 7 for a wide receiver that, even if he doesn't get traded and he stays right where he is in Seattle with Geno Smith, with maybe a more balanced attack. I get it. It's not what you want. It's not what I want. But at 6, 7 round value, the risk is 1,000% baked in, boys. And if it's me, I'm going to draft DK Metcalf nearly almost every other time, because you don't ever want to put all your eggs in one basket, but nearly almost every other time in a 6 to 7 round ADP. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. There's other landing spots where DK could go. Green Bay could be interesting, although they spread the ball around weird. Buffalo is an example of how you think someone could do well. Amari Cooper, and Amari Cooper does nothing. By the way, Amari Cooper is a free agent, and I dare say he's probably Higgins is going to be off the table. Godwin's going to be off the table. These two are returning to their home teams. So dare I say Cooper is going to be left once those occur, or the tag happens and we remove Higgins off because the tag occurs. Then all of a sudden Cooper becomes the top wide receiver on the free agent board. And dare I say there's a chance that he has a little bit more left in the tank than we know, because Buffalo just didn't mesh with him well. He didn't get anything going really. Caught a touchdown, I believe, in that first game, if I remember correctly. And then we didn't really see him. But I don't know that I saw a decline or really saw over-involvement, a chance to even fail. So Amari Cooper's got a little gas left in the tank. Would be shocked if nothing else, the Washington Commanders go get Amari Cooper, which won't be a bad idea. It just isn't a long-term solution or fix for the wide receiver role once McLaurin drops off. I love the idea of Washington and DK Metcalf. I think DK Metcalf in Washington is one of the most glorious ideas I could concoct walking into this early free agency. And I hope Adam Peters and I are eye to eye on this one, like we have been in other ways. JD5, he knows what he's doing. And Ben Sinnott, love Ben Sinnott, goes to Washington. I love that pick. I think Ben Sinnott, shh. Don't tell anybody. Ben Sinnott might be on the Moon Man list before the month is over here. March 1, I believe, for most of you right now. I got an hour left before it turns March 1. As for Deebo Samuel, let's minimize DK and pop on over to the Deebo Samuel conversation. As you can see right here, both Houston and Washington have ties to Deebo Samuel. Texans head coach DeMeco Ryans and Commanders GM Adam Peters were both previously in San Francisco with Samuel. Adam Peters, big connection here. Commanders right below this. Commanders and Texans have had significant interest in trading for wide receiver Deebo Samuel, with talks progressing in recent days, sources tell NFL on Fox. Other teams include the Steelers, the Broncos, and also have also checked in the Houston Texans and the Washington Commanders. So it really is just a grab bag of all of the same teams. Clearly, the Steelers are constantly looking into wide receiver acquisitions dating back to all throughout the entire last season with Ayuk and Deebo. So there's definitely ties here to the Steelers. But, I don't know. I think that the Texans are probably in the most need of, let's say, a Deebo Samuel. Why? Because as much as we love Tank Dell probably will never return to form, but the Texans might believe he could. And so, being that Tank Dell's not going to play at all really in 2025, probably will not. I don't think he's even had his ACL surgery yet. I think Tank Dell's knee was so mangled. The surgeries up until now have been putting the rest of his knee back together. It's been brutal. Prayers up for Tank Dell. But he now, if he hasn't had it like the last couple of days, he is waiting to have the ACL surgery to fix that part. It's been an awful injury. So at the end of the day, this team might be waiting on Tank Dell in about a year or so. Deebo fits the bill for a nice, almost bridge wide receiver. And they could use him and Tank when Tank does come back, if Tank ever even comes back to play. He might have Tank's knee is so bad, he might, again, not going to play in 2025. He might try and come back in 2026, have to have more surgeries and never play, starting football again. I mean, I'm not saying he will, but that's how bad his knee injury was. Guys, and yeah, the JSN, look, JSN is top 4 for me. And that's a bold take. Neighbors, wide receiver 1, JSN, wide receiver 4, Genty, top 5 running backs. Those are 3 massive bold takes coming at you from your boy Smitty on the bold prediction board. A different board than the Moon Man Mars Man Satterman, because you guys are on this board as well. $50 haulers. I put your bold prediction up, and whoever wins, you guys vote at the end of the year, will co-host a show with me to some capacity. Whether you want to be on the phone line the entire show or be on video for a couple of segments, you choose. Superfish won this, and I'm still awaiting Superfish's decision, unless Superfish told me the decision, but I didn't see it yet. What Superfish wants to do. Superfish could even give it away if Superfish wants to, but congrats to Superfish. Jonnu Smith, top 5 tight end, was the prediction that Superfish dropped on the bold prediction board. $50 haulers. Anybody drops one tonight, I stand up and I write it right on the board. BBQ has, I think, 3 or 4 of them that he gets to put up on there. JSN to the moon. Oh, what I was trying to say is, if DK does move, JSN.
Stock on the rise.
If DK doesn't move,
Stock on the rise.
Still, obviously a little bit more exciting if JSN's playing football by himself, but there's some advantage to having DK stretch defenses and have JSN work a lot over the middle, get in the slot. I mean, there's a lot of benefit of not being able to double team JSN. So either way, it's going to be a great year. But we'll be ramping up the JSN content even more if DK moves. Now, if DK moves, JSN will probably climb though. I could see JSN climbing to the second round if DK was traded. So there's a pro and a con. We get excited about our current shares we already have, our Dynasty League value that we already have, all the best ball drafts we draft up into the point DK gets moved, if he gets moved. And then from that point on, we got to reassess whether we want to be in at JSN at second round value. If DK's gone, JSN is going to climb to 24 overall at the bare minimum. So get your JSN drafting, equity now before it's too late. And if nothing ever ends up evolving, or the Seahawks come in and they've said they're not interested in trading DK, but we don't really believe that yet. If we come out of the draft, let's say, and the draft's in April, at the end of April, and there's no movement, then clearly we can then kind of say, okay, now we can draft JSN in the third round and continue to do that. But right now, almost assume like you might not be able to do that and take, a lot more shares than normal, and maybe front load your JSN drafts in the beginning of this, on the front end of the draft. And that way on Underdog, you're smashing it. We're going to draft on Underdog in a minute. Promo code Smitty will get it done. Links in the description, links in the live chat. I'm going to pin the link in the live chat. Code Smitty does the same thing as the link. Doubles, you get 50% match on your first deposit all the way up to $1,000. So if you want to draft with us later, make sure you hit that link and you get ready to rumble. Where would be the best location? Like I've said before, I think the Texans are probably the best fit for Deebo in terms of the team benefiting, because of the need at wide receiver, the quarterback, the offense needed to get back to where it was in 2023, and Deebo would be a good fit. D'Amico knows Deebo because he was also on the Niners. Everybody's been on the Niners. The Niner coaching tree, if you want to rip the Niners for anything, it's not for their coaching tree. They continuously have a great coaching tree that's spread far and wide throughout the NFL. All these teams have a Niner at some degree. The Commanders, Adam Peters, pretty much acting GM for the Niners for many years, even though John Lynch was the GM. This guy is a scouting machine. So there's lots of ties. Commanders would be a good spot for Deebo if they didn't get DK. Obviously, I think it's good. I would definitely want it. He'd do well in Washington. They use him quite a bit. They'd use him as a wide back, I'm sure. They bring him over to do some of that. That's his nature. He's the best yak yardage receiver in the National Football League. And I still think there's ability for him to do that. DK, I don't like DK in Green Bay as much as I like him in Washington. I love him in Washington. I like, if we pull up the teams and we just take a gander at the squads here. Sorry, that's a old schedule. If we say DK in Buffalo, it's kind of unknown. He's not going there. The Buffalo Bills are not looking at it like that. I don't know why they don't. I don't know why the Buffalo Bills don't figure out how to go big after a wide receiver. They just won't. It's like they don't understand the problem that's in front of them. The problem is a puzzle, and they don't want the additional final puzzle pieces. They just want to try and complete the puzzle without the pieces. It's wild to me. If I was Josh Allen, I don't know how Josh Allen's calm about it. I'd literally go in and just bang my fist on the table and say, get me DK. What more? What do I have to do? Do I have to carry the entire team on my back year in and year out, year in and year out? You got me a Amari Cooper. He didn't work. He was a lemon. Go get me DK Metcalf. But the Bills probably won't do that. The Houston Texans, again, DK or Deebo would be great. And do I think it's the best that's great for the team. Is it the best fantasy outcome? No. I think Deebo fits in Tennessee better than DK. I don't want DK going to another environment where he's clearly the number 2. JSN's clearly the one in Seattle. Nico's clearly the number 1 in Houston. Denver, I don't know that Denver's the best fantasy spot, but it's a good NFL location. Green Bay, good NFL location for both of them. I don't know about fantasy. Deebo may be better in Green Bay than DK. DK I like in Green Bay. I'm not going to lie. It's good. It would be solid, but it really is Washington. Washington is by far and away the best landing spot for DK Metcalf. Carolina would be interesting for DK if they got in the mix, because we saw how Adam Thielen got peppered like crazy by Bryce Young. He also would be a great receiver for Bryce Young. Bryce Young's a little smaller. Still working on accuracy, and you've got this catch radius machine that can catch. He has a catch radius the size of a bus, and you've got places like Pittsburgh, which would be, I think, very similar to Seattle. So I don't want DK there. Tennessee would be awful. Everyone always throws the Chargers out. A lot of Charger fans are the responsible ones for calling out the Chargers. I don't want them in the Chargers uniform, splitting in a 50-50, or kind of want to be a run-heavy offense, even though they did throw more than any of us ever expected. If Fields goes to the Vikings the Raiders, or they trade up, whatever, and then get DK or Deebo, it'd be an amazing spot as long as there's a Cam Ward or a Shedeur Sanders or a Justin Fields. And, what if you were to acquire DK and additional draft capital for that number 6 overall pick? I'm not suggesting that I would do DK for a first rounder straight up. You don't have to. But if you got creative and crafty with, some draft picks, you could essentially, if you're the Green Bay or let me see, we're talking about, where's my other screen? Why is my screen vanishing? There we go. We were talking about DK Metcalf, Raiders. So Raiders, Seattle, you could cook up something along the lines of the Raiders getting DK, giving up their number, 6 or 7? I keep forgetting what pick they have. Raiders have 6, giving up 6. They do an additional swap somewhere. It's not like, 18 would be involved or anything, but you could do something that would make sense. And if I'm the Raiders and let's say I have DK, an additional pick that I draft a player that I love, that we coach up, he's as good as a first rounder, he slips, whatever, you get a second, and you give up that pick. I mean, good Lord. The Raiders with Fields, DK, Brock Bowers, they draft Scattaboo or somebody in the second round. What if you could get Scattaboo or Caleb Johnson or Hampton with the pick that you trade down, the pick that gets you DK Metcalf? Does anybody believe that Hampton or plug in Scattaboo, whoever's your favorite running back, in round 2 with DK Metcalf isn't better than the number 6 overall pick? Unless you go Genty. I love that. I'd take Genty. I've got the balls to go get Fields and pair him with Genty and Bowers. I've got the balls to do that. To the Raiders, I don't think they do. I don't think they know what time it is, to be frank. I mean, I think they can turn things around quickly, but they better sign Fields or Darnold. They better not go after Aaron Rodgers. They better not take their chances in the draft and hope Shedeur falls and doesn't have a backup plan. Or they better go get Bo Milton and put their cojones on the table fully. Higgins, if Higgins is out, DK to Cincy. Look, the problem with that is you're not going to be able to have the timing of that lineup, most likely. Because the Higgins thing will probably drag out past, the DK Metcalf trade. Reason I say that is I think you'd have to have like a draft day trade that would line up perfectly, because Higgins is going to be drawn out. I don't think they're trading Higgins before DK would be traded, but you never know. And the honest truth is, I think Higgins is near 90% chance of going back to Cincinnati. That's one of their big plans. Joe Burrow commands it. If Joe Burrow commands it, it's probably happening. I think that's all the news we had today. As of DK Metcalf, the guy had 66 receptions for 992 and 5 touchdowns. A down year for sure. But DK stats are still impressive. You're talking about a pretty much lock for 1,000 yards if he gets into a role where he's the number one. It's going to be 1,100 yards, probably bare minimum, to be honest. And you look at his touchdown numbers, 7, 10, 12, 6, 8, 5. He's a touchdown scorer. He probably needs a better quarterback. He's never had a better quarterback. Give him a better quarterback. Give him somebody that can feed this man enough targets in the red zone and in the end zone specifically. And he's almost a 10 touchdown lock. There are very few wide receivers in the league that are not 10 touchdown locks that I feel more confident in saying this, that DK Metcalf, is a 10 touchdown lock in the right situation with the right quarterback, like a better quarterback than Geno. Give him an upgrade, just any kind of upgrade at all, and he's a lock for 10 touchdowns on a 17-game season. Lock, virtual lock. That's my take on DK. And as for Deebo Samuel, his numbers are a little more disappointing, granted, because decline's coming for him. It's not that he hasn't had the right and proper, quarterback or usage or work. It's more about, is the guy going to wear down? Because he's really on running back years in terms of age, kind of like dog years. He's not a wide receiver. He's not aging gracefully like a wide receiver. Only 1,000 yard receiving season, but that's okay because this man is a combined yardage monster. But in combined touchdown monster, look at his rushing touchdowns, 5, 3, 8, 0, 3. Receiving touchdowns, never had over 7 receiving touchdowns, which is kind of a shock. Like if I said to you guys in a random question, what is Deebo Samuel's highest touchdown reception season? You'd say, 9, 10. It's kind of wild that his biggest receiving touchdown season ever is 7. And he's only had one other year where he was at 6. Everything else is 3 or below. But still, he's a combined yardage monster. He's a yak yardage machine. And truly, when I look at the 2024 numbers here at the this row right here, and we scroll over 2024, 15 games, 81 targets, 51 receptions, 670, 3 TDs. I think he's in store for his 2023 numbers, maybe minus some of the receptions. So put him down to like maybe 75 receptions, 800 receiving yards. Let's call it maybe 5 to 6 touchdowns receiving. Give him maybe 160 rushing, maybe 140 rushing, and like 1 to 2 rushing touchdowns. So I'd say a 6 to 7 total touchdown season, and maybe let's be safe and call it 950 total yards, maybe 1,000 total yards in a ideal Washington Commander situation, or in an ideal, Buffalo. I don't like DK in Buffalo. I love Deebo in Buffalo, because I think Josh Allen in the short passing game can sometimes become the Buffalo Bills run game, and I think Deebo fits that. I think Deebo fits that a lot. Sometimes the run will abandon the running backs, and I think that this fits the bill. And they would try and win and utilize him as much as they could before he fell off. It'd be a good landing spot. Buffalo is a better landing spot for Deebo than it is DK. Very much so. And Washington's a much better landing spot for DK than it is Deebo. But I could see both of them doing well in any one of those situations, to be quite honest with you. Now, get into the Underdog app. Click the link that's in the description. The link's in the live chat pinned. The link is right here as well. Code Smitty gets it done as well. Click that link. Open up the app. We're going into a $3 best ball draft. I think we said we'd do $3 tonight, right? So $3 lobby. Scroll. Actually, you don't have to scroll on over. You go to the draft tab. Go to the home tab. Have the lobby tab selected. But then if you switch over to the NFL tab, you can see big board, little board, the bigger board, and the biggest board. So if you go to the little board, the $3 entry, hit the green button, smash it, do it live, hit it, go, go, go. 6 more to join. I will pull that up on my screen here and share my screen. Hold on, I gotta close the app because it's caching that I don't have that draft set up. So let me pull that up. We'll pull it up. Then we'll open the phone lines here in a short second and take your phone calls on these topics specifically. One more to start. Board view. Let me grab this image. Let's go over here. All right, dial into the show. Dial in, dial in, dial in. Deebo to Washington just takes rushes away from JD5. Don't like it. I don't know about that, bro. I don't think Deebo's going to get about at his age, he's going to get about 100 and what do you think? 130, 140, 150 yards max. you know. Watch the Eagles somehow get a hold of Deebo, says Daddy Dennis. They will never, unless he gets cut, they'll never trade Deebo to the Eagles. But then again, that gets back to my point of like, what a ridiculous way to approach trading, that if there is a team you wouldn't trade Deebo to, then why are you trading Deebo? If you believe you're not planting a Trojan horse into another locker room because you don't believe the value is there anymore, and the more you're going to get more value back than you're giving up, you're winning the trade. I always find it funny when people think things like that, like, oh, I can't, we can't trade him interdivision. Well, then why are you trading him if he's that valuable? If he can improve someone's team and you're losing, why would you do it? You know, it's wild to me. Saquon Barkley, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. All right, dial into the phone line. Phone lines are open. We'll talk about this and more.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
All right, on deck here. Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan. Bijan went a little late, did he not? Yeah, I guess that's right. I mean, not right, but it's still in the realm. Puka Nacua. I'm going with my boy. Malik Neighbors, baby. Nico. Usually it goes Nico, BT, St. Brown, Achan. Those are the kind of the three that go right here in these 10, 11, 12 picks. So it's kind of back and forth. DK to Washington could be nice. It absolutely would, Wayne. 100%. 49er Media. What's up? What's up, man? My man.
Hey, how's it going?
What's up? We haven't heard from you in a while.
Yeah, I thought I'd call in because I saw you're talking about Deebo, so.
Yeah, I'm on the clock here. Christian McCaffrey's there, but I can't take him, pal. Can't do it.
I don't blame you, man. Still, I mean, Sean Lane said could take part in some of training camp, so it is a little weird.
What do I do here? I'm going to go wide receiver. I haven't done a wide receiver in a while. We'll try it. Like I said, I know you said AFC. I saw your comment in the chat. You said they're going to trade him to an AFC team. I just don't understand that. I don't understand that. Like in fantasy football.
I mean, that's just me. I'm hoping.
I'm not saying that that's your stance, but you're probably right, and that's sometimes the team's intention. But it's wild to me because in a fantasy football trade, and you can't tell me, oh, it's different. It's not really different. The concept is really the same. You're trying to one up the other owner. And if you're making your team better and you're making their team worse, wouldn't you want to trade interdivision? You know? And if you're making their team better and yours worse, then why are you making the trade? You know, and if it doesn't matter if it's like, oh, well, yeah, but we're getting draft pick capital that we can't use yet. And, well, then maybe you shouldn't be, like, if you believe that Deebo can help you win, then why are you trading him? And if you can't win with Deebo, but you don't want to help them get better, then you're just being selfish about your 2025 season. Like, it makes no sense to me when people say, yeah, well, you can't trade interdivision. Like, when I'm trading, if I'm trading with you, Media, I'm gonna take you to the cleaners and leave you with nothing. You know, otherwise, why make the trade? I'm not here to do an even Steven deal. Let's both walk away so we have a nice, great exchange. I mean, I always try to leave, like, the relationship undamaged so you can trade with that person again. I get it. But you're telling me you're not going to try and take Genty from me using, you know, a bunch of trash. Of course you will. You're not going to be like, well, let's go ahead and throw more your direction. The only time you do that is if there's vetoes involved and you're afraid that the league's going to veto it and you got to throw more in it. Otherwise, who's going to say no to a great trade? Let's make it even. No, thank you. Deebo, so where do you predict he goes then? You're a Niner. You're a Niner guy.
So I don't think he gets traded. Actually, I think he gets cut. Realistically, just because I think teams are probably going to kind of know that, and just it's a little bit more friendly against the cap. And the thing is, you know, when you do a trade, you can't do a post June 1st designation. That's only with the cut, right? So
yeah, but don't you think there's enough
I know
teams that? Don't you think there's enough teams that are saying I could wait for him to get cut, but we're not going to get him. We're not going to be in his top 3 spots, so let's trade for him and force him to come here. You know, like there's probably going to be.
Yeah, but also I don't know what the Niners, price tag would be too, because it's like I've been people saying, oh, a 7th round pick. Yeah, I'm not trading him for a 7th round pick, but I think if it's like a 5th and like a conditional thing where it can like become a 4th, I think the Niners.
But you get something versus
it,
nothing though, bro. You know, you trade him for a 6th round pick is better than just cutting him.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point you got to realize
the thing is with the dead cap, I don't know if the Niners, like John Lynch, would do that. Like he's like, oh, I'm getting a 6th and we're taking this with dead cap. I don't know if he would.
Maybe.
Really do that. So
tough to say, bro. It really is. On the clock here.
I think he gets cut though.
On the clock here, this is brutal. The RBs have been scooped up left and right. I don't love the running back options at all. This is not looking good. Let's try it. Let's keep rolling with. Let's go wide. Let's try a triple wide. I haven't done a triple wide in a while. Just to preface here, I do not think I'm gonna like this team. I do not like going wide receiver. I don't mind going wide receiver if the right running back falls, but even trying this is kind of reckless to do, which I don't care. It's a $3 draft. And I love experimenting because if it doesn't work, this is a learning experience for all of us, right? Especially you guys. In a sniping environment where I'm drafting with Miles, who's one of our people, he's not letting Kyron fall. Slater's one of our people. He's not letting Chase Brown fall. Rob is one of our people. He's not letting Breece Hall fall. Everyone's taking all these guys, and there's nobody falling. So the running backs are getting scooped up a little more than I probably would like. So it's a risky proposition for me to try a wide receiver approach, let alone a wide receiver. But this will be a fun experiment. Let's see how it goes. I don't know that I'm going to love this team, but I have 3 amazing wide receivers, that's for sure. But let's see what RBs are left. This is tough. Man, this is really tough because it's like I still like a lot of other players better than these RBs right here, but at the same time, James Cook had 20 freaking touchdowns. Okay, so Cook goes. Kenneth Walker, Hampton. What are we thinking, boys? Who do you like here? JD5, Hurts, Hampton, Kenneth Walker. Travis?
JD5 is your quarterback.
I have no RBs yet. That's right. We'll try it. JD5, Neighbors, AJ Brown, Garrett Wilson. I mean, look, pound for pound, they're amazing picks, but the questions is going to be who's there. The thing I like about doing this with RB more than anything is like there are running backs that I do like that I think I can make this work, but
yeah, like someone said, Chuba's probably still there.
Well, he won't be. But
we need guys like Najee.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. But the good thing is, like, all these guys that have doubled up on RB, they can't keep doing that. They got to get some wide receivers. So some RBs will fall. So media, I don't think you'll. I mean, I think he could definitely get cut. There's definitely a possibility. Yeah. But I think because there are teams actively already involved, that's probably a pretty good sign that he has a shot at getting traded. But Steelers could be in the mix. I think that another team, Washington, could be in the mix. The only thing that could put maybe a monkey wrench in the situation is if this team acquiring him does want to lock him to a new deal, reconstruct his contract, maybe, make it, so that they can have the option of having him more long-term if they want to, but have some outs, but make the deal right for Deebo. Deebo gets a little more upfront money, feels like a raise. I think, he could potentially be like, I don't want to go here and it cause a problem, but I don't know. He's the one that's seeking out these parties, so he's coming back with the teams he wants to go to. So at the end of the day, I think that since there's 2-3 potential early parties already, this is a good chance he gets traded. It would be different if the Niners were the ones shopping him. I think because he's going out, he'll probably get a deal done. But we'll see.
Because him and his agent are going out there. But I actually think the Texans would be a good fit for trade too, just because I know, Tank Dell's coming off that, what was it, ACL, and we don't know how long he'll be there for. And then, who they have really? Nico Collins and kind of it.
Yeah, Tank Dell.
Metcalf is about it.
Tank Dell hasn't even had his ACL surgery.
Yeah,
he's bad.
That's
yeah,
about
but
it,
I with Mechie, I think Texans just make a lot of sense.
Yeah,
I think it's a good fit.
my predictions have been one of these top row teams. So Ravens, Bills, Texans, Broncos. That's where I think Deebo's landing.
Ravens are my favorite football fit.
Yeah, but I think the Washington Commanders
Ravens
on this
pretty
side,
crazy.
the Commanders on this side of the fence need to be added to the mix too, for sure. And I just don't know.
Yeah.
Adam Peters is so smart. I don't know what he's thinking here, and I think he's more trying to get a DK than he is a Deebo, but hard to say. I'm on the clock
I'm
here.
hoping for more from Washington.
All right, do I go Kamara here? Kamara here is pretty good. As much as I do worry about him dropping, this is a pretty
good
damn
strategy.
good RB here. This is
For
a
a
pretty damn
late
good.
first running back, sure.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, because JD5, Kamara, Neighbors, AJ Brown, Garrett Wilson, I've recovered really well. I don't love Kamara as much, but 5th round, first running back in that strategy, can't go wrong. That's a really good gamble to take. And in best ball, maybe in redraft, I don't love Kamara, even in this spot. But in best ball, it doesn't matter. I'm going to have other players step up, hopefully, that take control. So I feel like it's a great pick. I'll tell you what, media, though. I know you're going to be optimistic about your Niners, but I think losing Deebo is going to be a huge blow. Ayuk's not going to probably be 100% in my opinion at the beginning of the year, even if he says he's going to be. He mentally isn't even going to be ready because he wasn't even mentally prepared in a good place when he was freaking, healthy before he tore. So you got that struggle he's going to have, and where does he fit in, and do you put him in the wide receiver 3 spot if he is back but not fully healthy? And that's going to mess with him a little bit. Hold on, I'm on the clock here. Tyrone Tracy ain't bad here, but I'm going to bank on Trevion Henderson. I really like Trevion Henderson.
Yeah.
I think this is a ballsy move for my RB2, but I like it. So Neighbors, AJ Brown, Garrett Wilson, Kamara, Trevion Henderson, JD5. It's definitely not my favorite team. I'm more of a balanced guy, but I feel like it was a pretty good recovery from going to WR, triple wide, which I normally don't do. All right.
I think with the...
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think the Niners, I think their range of outcomes is pretty big. I think they could be really good still, but they really have to thread the needle with injuries and get this Purdy thing done one way or another. And it's kind of a small window. I mean, they have talent that they can be okay with the injuries, and Pearsall can jump in a good spot and all that, but it might just be tough to do threading that needle with that many ifs in.
Yeah, I think. I mean, they're gonna have to hit on this draft again. Because they definitely did hit on it last year, but they need to, and I wouldn't be mad if they even trade down from 11 and get some more picks, because I think they need that much. Young guys. John Lynch even said that they need to get younger, so would not shock me if they end up trading down. Even though they already are gonna have around 10 picks.
A nice pick for them
really
would be the lineman from Ohio State, Josh Simmons. If he would
no,
be a top 5 pick.
No. I am staying away from.
You don't want a
because of
lineman?
the injury that I'm staying away from Josh Simmons. I
Let me.
know,
Let,
but
let,
the issue is.
all right, hold on, guys. Let me go rock out. Let me go to rock out real quick. Rock out. You're live. Sorry, it's not a Niners
Yeah,
show.
I think
Media.
Deebo could be a good spot in Washington, but I would rather have Godwin. But Deebo could play basically the same role he has in the 49ers with like Ayuk and Deebo, same type of deal. But with the 49ers, they're pretty stingy when it comes to trades. They always want to please any team they trade with.
Yeah. Niners are pretty stingy, but at the same time, like Deebo doesn't have a ton of value, so I don't know. Hard to say, where this is going to go at this point.
Yeah.
But
Texans a good spot too.
Yeah, Texans would be the best. Probably the Ravens and the Texans are the best football fits for sure,
probably,
because they can utilize Deebo enough. They have to potentially use him the way he would even want to be used. And let's see here, who am I going to go with here? I've got wide receiver on lock. I don't love these RBs, so I am scrolling a little bit. I am reaching a little bit, but I'm going to reach for Stevenson here versus trying to wait for him to come back. I think Kamara, Stevenson, Trevion Henderson's a pretty good running back stable, considering.
Yeah, not bad.
Because Stevenson still brings, top 5 running back experience to the table. Whether he is one this year is to be determined, but I mean, he certainly has been there before. And the contract extension and the lack of draft capital that they can afford to use on just an RB probably makes the Patriots one of the more likely teams to not even draft a running back, or they draft one very late. But they could be one that does not even address it. They could bring in a unrestricted free agent or an undrafted free agent running back. They could, sign somebody off of out of the free agent pool cheaply. But I feel like it would be a mistake to take a running back early at least. So I think Stevenson's a good bet.
They won't take one early. I don't think.
Yeah, he just got to work on the fumbling, but yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a concern.
But
good candidate this late though.
Josh McDaniels likes the pass catching backs too, so they probably won't go after another big back early anyways.
Yeah, like a late one, like 6th round or something.
Yeah, there's so many running backs too. You can wait, get somebody you like. Rockout, was it you or someone else in the chat last night had an interesting idea? Like when we were talking about how the Colts had an interview with Genty and saying, what if they did trade JT and went young or whatever. Washington would be an amazing spot for JT to upgrade from B-Rob.
I don't think I think someone else said it, but I mean, I wouldn't mind him in Washington.
JD5.
I don't know if they do it, but
hold on a second, guys.
Yeah.
JD5, Kamara, Henderson, Ramondre, Neighbors, AJ Brown, Garrett Wilson, and Jonnu. Pretty solid.
Yeah, I like that.
I don't know if I can envision that being, the team that wins it all, but it's pretty good. My favorite, not really, but what do you guys think about DK though? Let's move off the Niners. Sorry, media. This isn't a Niners show.
I think
DK going to.
I'm going to believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
Just because he's connected with so many teams. Like I think there's a real chance he gets moved because he's going to want a contract soon. I think, and and then for whatever reason, there's always whispers of them maybe moving off of him. I don't know if that's an organization thing or just a media thing, but because there's so much smoke, I got to see a little more clarity.
Yeah.
How many years does he have left on his deal?
1 or 2.
Yeah, I think you might have 1.
That was like a bit
DK
shocked
Metcalf.
when I heard the
DK
rumor. It was like, why were
DK
the
Metcalf
Seahawks
is
getting him? That makes sense.
unrestricted free agent in 2026, so he has this one last season.
Oh.
So any team, he's a great
Yeah,
candidate
so
to get traded
I'm surprised.
because if he gets traded, he's going to get a new deal, and the Seahawks might not want to pay him a new deal right now. They view him as their second wide receiver, and they feel like they could probably use that draft capital or that financial capital on something else. And another team that could use DK as a number one wide receiver could come in. So that's why it makes him a good trade candidate for sure. So unrestricted free agent in 2026, it just makes a lot of sense to trade him if the price was right. And it just really does depend on what they can get. If they can get something that helps them.
28 this year too. So
yeah, sometimes teams like they don't want to. This is like why the Bengals have a kind of a desire not to pay T. Higgins, because they don't want to pay T. Higgins the amount of money he's going to command when they've got Jamar Chase, and that's kind of the way that teams feel and act. But I don't know. I would love. Let's see here.
I just hope wherever he goes, they use him the right way to his skill set.
Yeah.
It seems like he's been misused in Seattle. I know he's had a couple of injury issues, but
Yeah.
Up until the beginning of last year, it's like they didn't quite use him as that like bona fide one, and I think he needs that chance.
This is the first year you can get CMC and Tyreek with the last pick. Bro, but Wayne, you're taking CMC and Tyreek both about almost a round too early, or at least a half a round early with CMC and then a whole round early, if not a little more for Tyreek. So I don't know that those are great picks. If you could technically get CMC and Tyreek in the second and third round if the draft falls just right and that happens. But I wouldn't be taking them at 12 and 13, bro. If you ever can get them at second and third round value, then you do it. You take advantage of that opportunity in that draft at that moment and take a few shares of that. But there's no way I'm picking them at 12 and 13. I like the upside of one of them maybe working out, but both of them, that's a damn tall order. Damn tall order, son. My team looks okay. It's just you guys are reaching on some players so much that it makes everybody have to reach. So the entire draft is a reach-a-thon. I mean, it's like I don't even know what to do here. It's bad. I'm going to time out. Damn it! Who'd I get? Shaheed.
What'd you get?
Shaheed. I should have queued somebody. It's like we're in round 10 and you're looking at guys. It seems like we're looking at 12 just because everybody reached so early on some of these guys, which caused me to reach. I had to reach. Everybody had to start reaching, but you take everybody takes somebody too early and see. Christian McCaffrey went at 20, and Tyreek Hill went at where did Tyreek go? He went at 28. So look at this team right here. If you think it's not possible, they was both consideration for number one on overall last year. So Wayne, it doesn't have to do with anything. doesn't mean you're gonna draft off last year, Wayne. It doesn't. Last year doesn't matter. Eckler was the number one running back the year prior to the year he dropped off. You still can't the next year take him after his drop-off year because you can finally get a big name. Look here. Christian McCaffrey, 20 overall. Tyreek went at 28. He almost made it to the drafter in the 5 slot. He would have got Christian McCaffrey and Tyreek Hill if Tyreek Hill fell one more slot. So look, why would you take Christian McCaffrey 20 overall and Tyreek Hill 28 overall at the 12 and 13 picks? That is bad management. It's a very bad plan, Wayne. That's how you lose leagues. I'm not saying they can't work out. Individually, one works out at that value, but Wayne, that's how you waste away your entire roster and punt the season. Caleb Johnson or Neil Caleb. Caleb. Neil's okay, but Caleb's by far a better player. By far. Damn, man. This draft is wild. What have we had going on here since I picked last? So I timed out, damn it. We got Diggs, Coleman, Marvin, Neil, Swift went. Who am I going to take here? It is so thin. Shiat. I guess I'm going to roll with Trey Benson. So my running stable's looking a little bit more secure. I've got JD5, Kamara, Trevion Henderson, Ramondre, Tank Bigsby, Benson, Neighbors, AJ Brown, Garrett Wilson, Shaheed, Jonnu Smith. After my Trey Benson pick, it went Keenan Allen, Dylan Sampson. See, like everyone's taken, everyone just even in some cases even like 5 to 10 spots too high. It's just like this trigger effect. I wonder what some of these teams in this scenario. I wonder if everyone's got a really low score. It's good. Everyone's gonna be like 23, 2,400 projected points because everyone's got all these teams that are okay. I probably need. I need another wide receiver. Jeez, guys. I'll go Penix Jr., I guess. I gotta have a backup quarterback. You guys are sniping all the QBs early too. What else could I do for you, media, before I let you jump off the line? We might call it a shorter show tonight.
Don't really have anything else, but yeah, just wanted to come here on for the Deebo thing a little bit. But,
All right, my boy. We'll see you later, media.
Bye.
Rock out. Any final thoughts, my man?
What would you think about Henderson to Washington?
I love it. Love it. Henderson to Washington. Trevion Henderson to... And look, Adam Peters is going to know he's amazing. That's the beautiful part of Adam Peters. He's not going to let someone like that fall too far unless somebody just snags him before him. But Trevion Henderson would be great there. Trevion Henderson would be great in Las Vegas. He'd be great in Cleveland. He'd be great in Washington. He'd be great in Dallas. He'd be great in a number of locations. I hope he just doesn't fall like in Indy, behind JT, or in LA behind Kyron, or in San Francisco or Seattle and over running three-headed monster, or Tampa Bay, or what would be great though, and people are going to have an adverse reaction to it, but this channel is going to be all over it. Who do the Minnesota Vikings draft? Because that is a great system, a great offense with an aging running back that's signing a contract extension here because they moved his void date so that they could re-sign him. And everyone's going to be like, oh, Aaron Jones is there. Henderson to the Vikings would be unreal for the future. It'd be a little bit of a waiting game, but Aaron Jones is an older player. He could get hurt by midseason. The Vikings landing spot for an RB might be one of the craftiest long-term spots. Yep. And I hope it's Trevion Henderson. I hope it's Dylan Sampson. I hope it's, Hampton. I hope it's one of those guys. I'll be willing to be a little patient. Even for 2025 redraft, I'm willing to be a little patient, draft him, get him at a discount, stash him on my bench, and wait for Aaron Jones to get hurt, or just for Henderson to get 50-50 touches because they're like, we got to get this kid the ball. And Aaron Jones is injured or not super effective or whatever. But he's an old dog, Not concerned about him, especially for the long term. It's just not a big deal to me.
I think we could have several of those situations where we have to, wait half a year or even till next year for some of the later picks, because there's so many free agent running backs, and there's literally like 30 running backs that have like a that are draftable in terms of the NFL draft this year. It's insane, 20 or 30 guys where usually not that many are, top 5 round picks, top 4 round picks type of players.
Yeah. I'm almost done with RB drafting. All right, boys. Anything else?
Yeah, I saw one. I haven't seen a ton of comps for Travis Hunter as a wide receiver, but I saw one. I forget who said it. It actually wasn't too bad of one. What do you think of him being comped to a Devonta Smith? Not just for his size, but the way he plays as well as a wide receiver. Do you see any of that, or is there another player you see him being like, or
Travis Hunter? I don't think Devonta Smith would be the comp I have, because Devonta Smith is, I don't think he's that possession wide receiver that Hunter is. Hunter's you throw the ball up and he's just boom knocking people around, and he's just Smith's more of a precision, you lay it out and he's
Hunter's a little more physical.
I don't want to use a Tyler Lockett in his prime though, Tyler Lockett, but I feel like Devonta Smith's more like a, he's got a good catch radius, he can get a good jump ball, but I don't know that he's not manhandling people like I think Travis Hunter can. So I would say maybe the best example of Travis Hunter. I mean, I don't know if this is a crazy comp. Is
he's not a huge guy.
I think, but he plays.
Like you said, he can play that way.
Yeah, I don't think he's small though at any level. I don't know. I kind of feel like he plays like Nico. He's all over the field. I don't know what I would comp him to. I'm not saying they're the same size by any means, but looking at my thefantasyfootballshow.com rankings, and I pull them up and I just scroll through the wide receivers, and I'm trying to think is he Amon-Ra St. Brown? Kinda the way he plays. They're aggressive. They're all over the place. They're precision receivers, but they're also space dominators. I would say a little like Garrett Wilson. I would say a little bit like JSN. I mean, he's a combination.
I didn't realize he's 180 pounds. Is that right? I didn't realize he had that much weight on him.
Yeah,
185.
Yeah, I think he'll play he'll play at 190. I'm probably, I guess.
So he's a little bigger than I realized. I guess.
Yeah, he's not. He's a tough dude. But I think not factoring in everybody's height that I named, but I want to say a combination of all those players. He feels a lot like, his game feels a lot like Amon-Ra St. Brown. I feel like
that's a good one.
I feel like if the Lions are at the goal line, let's say they're at the 7-yard line, and they're three wide receiver set, and Amon-Ra's just navigating right at the goal line, looking for a pass, that's what you throw to Travis Hunter. That's what you throw to Amon-Ra St. Brown. I don't know that that doesn't feel like Devonta Smith's throw. Devonta Smith's the guy on the sideline.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
All right, we're.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't realize he was 185 pounds. I thought he was less than that. So I stand corrected on that.
That's not the most weight, I'll admit, but I still think he plays bigger than that. And I don't know. Let's see here. Wide receiver. God, there's nobody left. This has been a Snipe City. Baltimore, Minnesota, Cincy for what, Wayne? What's he talking about? What are you talking about now, Wayne? Wayne, I'm not mad at you. This thing Yoshi bus. I'm not mad at you for wanting to take Tyreek and CMC at 12 and 13. I'm just trying to I'm hard on you so that you don't make a mistake, my boy. You can't draft. And the worst thing you can do, no offense, Wayne, this is the worst way to be a manager, is be like, what they could do, score from that. They could be good from there. You can't play that game. You don't just say, oh, well, what if, they were once great. That's what you said. They were once the best players. It doesn't matter. Woulda, shoulda, coulda, once upon a time, You know, as Tony Soprano says, the most boring kind of conversation is remember when. And you can't play remember when with that. Their ADPs are their ADPs. You're not taking advantage of ADP. You're getting taken to the cleaners, bro. I don't care how good you think they're going to be. Just because I think Bucky Irving could be a top 5 running back, you think I'd take him in round 1 and then have my reason being, well, he could earn it. That's not a good fantasy manager. You know, he could earn that. Doesn't matter if he could earn that. You know, so Wayne, I'm just hard on you to try and make sure you don't make a mistake and you maximize your value. Trevion Henderson in Baltimore, in Cincy. What are you talking about, Wayne? This is what I'm talking about, Wayne. This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we don't want them there.
What are we doing, Wayne?
Baltimore.
What are we doing, Wayne? Really?
Yeah, Wayne's World.
For Trevion Henderson.
Yeah, I guess.
What was it? Where was it at? It was is Miami. Where's his comment? Oh, Baltimore. So Baltimore, Cincy, or Minnesota for Trevion Henderson. Why in the hell would you want Trevion Henderson in Baltimore or Minnie? I mean, I guess it's not the end of the world to put him in Baltimore because, like, long term, Henry, you know, but I don't know. I don't think that's what you want. Minnesota I love, but I already said that. That doesn't count. Cincinnati, what are you saying? Chase Brown is lightweight duty? What are we doing, Wayne? Baltimore, I could understand a little bit, just because Henry will eventually break. But I don't know if that's the place for him, though. I don't know if that's the ground and pound situation that we're wanting him to be in. We want him more in a Kamara role. We want him more in a Gibbs role, probably. More of a CMC role. You know, you're talking about a 400, 500 receiving running back. Trevion Henderson could be one of the best receiving backs in the National Football League.
Could be.
NFL-wise, Wayne, well...
I do worry a little bit about the Bengals taking another running back. They figure an interview with Genty, but I mean, again, that just due diligence if a guy like that drops to it too. But
yeah, don't tell
interviewing him.
Don't tell Chase Brown. Don't tell Chase Brown, but I'd take Genty if he fell. Sorry, Chase Brown. Unless I've got Bijan, Gibbs, and they're not even safe. Like I just say, give them to me, and I'll make this the, you know, like at some point Monty's gonna, you know, not be able to do Monty type things. So like Genty and Gibbs is really no different than Monty and Gibbs in a sense. You know, and if I'm a coach, that's what I want. I don't care. Like I would also be saying the same damn thing. I don't care about your fantasy. I mean, give me Genty and Gibbs all day. But yeah, so who knows? But he's not falling there. He's not falling to the mother freaking Bengals.
Bengals would be 17.
I mean, is there a possibility?
27.
Yeah, is there a possibility he falls to 17? I mean, sure, but I'd say the odds are like 5 to 10% maybe, which is still more than I would like to admit, to be honest. But
I question. I know. Like you said, they need a lot of players, but I even question if he's there for New Orleans at 9, if they'd be tempted to take him. Just because you take the best player when you need a ton.
Possibly. I mean, get ready for a plan without Kamara in a year or so.
Right. You know, they're in one of those teams that just needs talent. But
they do.
Especially a draft that has so many, you know, linemen and, you know, defensive linemen, offensive linemen, players like that, where it's weak in the skill position area overall. You know, it's not the best. We've been spoiled too, but compared to other years, it's not as deep for skill positions. So
yeah. My next pick here, I got to be careful saying it out loud because you snipers will take them.
Yeah, Snipe City.
Sniper.
Snipe City. I'm a big fan of Jalen Naylor. I'm just going to grab him because he's my last wide receiver anyway. And then we'll come back around here. All right, boys. We'll see you later.
Yep.
Later, rock out. See you, Smitty.
Yeah,
Bye.
see you tomorrow. Combines tomorrow. Travis and Rock Out combines tomorrow, so we'll be doing a lot more work during the day than normal. Sometimes we just, in the off season, we've been going out live in the evening if there hasn't been breaking news, but there should be breaking news. There should be combine news. I don't know if I'll go live during the entire combine or what I'm going to do. I'm not sure yet. I might just go live on and off throughout the day too. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Have not decided yet. On the clock. I'll go Damian Martinez. I really like that running back. Tomorrow you might make a statement too. So grab him now. And then coming back around, I'll share my team and then we're going to get out of here. I don't even know if I'm going to finish to the end of the I'll draft with you guys, but here's the squad. Jonu Smith and Harold, my rookie tight end. Naylor, Yoshivas, Amari, Shaheed, G. Willie, AJB, Neighbors. So my receivers are off the hook. Neighbors, AJB, Garrett Wilson. I don't normally draft like this. I think Kamara and Henderson and Ramondre and Tank Bigsby and Benson, some pretty damn good running back stable considering. I just still don't love the strategy. I don't recommend it. I like to do different things to show you guys and maybe stumble upon something that I'm not trying a lot that I feel, never mind. I do like this. It's working out well more than I thought. I got to try everything, right? Trial and error. And I'm not getting a good vibe on the wide receiver. I have had great success going wide receiver, running back, and running back, wide receiver. And of course, anything in between with balance. But I do find the triple wide receiver straight down the hatch does not typically land me what I want unless I'm in the right spot and I somehow get, let's go to the board and I'll show you like an example. If somehow I get, let's say, a Kyron's not going to fall. I don't even see, Cook could maybe get it done, but I don't even see it. Like Cook and Chuba together, I'd feel a little more comfortable with to do it. But even so, I just, the way I look at it is the wide receiver that I'm getting in round 2 that, in this case, I took, who did I take? Oh, AJ Brown. In this case, I took AJ Brown. Part of me, in retrospect, thinks, why not just go early Breece Hall, or just go a little early Bucky, and just attack the RB position that way. It forced into a weird spot like this, but I've seen in that third round, more of an idea of like, it depends where you are, but if you're in the middle to early third round, then you're getting Breece Hall or Bucky or Kyron in that draft slot. So then wide receiver from an earlier part of the draft is a lot easier to pull off, and then get your RB in round 3. But my suggestion and advice would be don't go wide receiver. It's just not, I don't think you're going to have a championship team using that approach. Deebo, where is he going to be? Washington, the Texans, the Green Bay Packers. Where could he go? Could he go to a team not really being talked about a lot right now, like the Ravens, wanting to win a championship, wanting to play with Lamar? I'm sure that's in his mindset. Green Bay, are they going to get anybody? Are the Buffalo Bills going to get proactive? Probably not, but will they? Will the Washington Commanders get one of these two gentlemen? It'd be amazing if DK was in Washington. That would be a dream come true, I think, for fantasy football. I'll see you all tomorrow. Appreciate every single one of you.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special message from the Bruce's mother.
Get Bijan.
All right, you're on.
Get Baris or get Burrow. Either one. Either one. Yes, get Jefferson. Get Jefferson.
Go ahead.
Getting Land. Land.
Daniel, appreciate your celebratory message. 12-month membership. As a Packer fan, do I trade now? Or do the trade now? I need him. I think I read that already, but thank you, Daniel, for dropping that earlier. See you all tomorrow. Appreciate you. Tomorrow's Combine Day for the RBs, wide receivers. We'll certainly be live on and off. Appreciate every single one of you. Hit that thumb up button, the like button on the way out the door. Deuce is a deuces.